All right. Hope you guys nice break. So we will continue with this assignment. We are almost there. So we're gonna quickly wrap it up and then, yeah, and then leave it at that. Okay. All right. So before the break, that we actually get to the second controller here, that we actually isolate the rotate Y as the only available attribute for this channel box or this controller. So we can actually now allow, as you can see, even if you turn on the rotation tool, you're trying to rotate any other degree, it does not allow you to turn anymore. Okay? So make sure that the only attribute that allow you to rotate is rotate horizontally, like you see here. Alright, so we are moving on to the next one, which is allow you to kind of rotate down, which you can see by testing now, the rotate axis is the only attribute that should allow you to rotate. And I don't want this thing to be accidentally moved or any other degree that can potentially break the rig. Okay? So in that case, only thing I'm going to be using is rotate X. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna drag and highlight everything with the left mouse button, and then holding down the control key to exclude rotate X. Now we have everything highlighted except rotate X. After that, right click on top of that, and then scroll down to lock and hide selected. Now you are left with the rotate X only. And then moving on to the next one as well. As you can see now, you can see this one. Same thing, rotate X. Now let's quickly go back to a rotate X here. Now you can see, if I actually keep rotating it down, for example, once you get to that area, it will start to clipping. I mean, you can also limit that how far you can rotate. For example, I don't want it to be rotating more than, for example, 100 degree, 105 degree. That is the maximum that I set for this particular arm joint to be able to rotate. So that I'm gonna remember that as 105, and then I'm gonna go down to the next one, and maybe I wanna have that up to this one, maybe negative 100 as the minimum. Okay, so that's the range that I set up, and there is a option inside of Maya allow you to do that. So make sure you select the controller here, and then Control A, or click on this middle icon on top of the right corner called a Show Hide Attribute Editor. Click on it, gonna open it up here. Let's pay our attention to the lower control, which is the most likely on the left end of the multiple tab that you have here. And then if you scroll up, there's something called a tab called a limit information. So let's open that up. And then there's a translate that's automatically hidden, and there's a rotate that's being opened up. And you can see there's a minimum and maximum angle that you can set up. The current is the what you currently value that you have right now, which currently has not rotated anything. That's why it says 0. Now let's toggle on and on for the minimum and max. And remember, it was a negative 100, and then for the maximum was 105. So that you just set the range that how far that the this particular attribute or the oriented rotate X is going to be rotate. So if I test it now, once you set it up, you'll notice that after you reach D, which is the value called a 105, it actually stops and does not allow you to rotate anymore. Now you go the other way, now it's gonna stop at negative 100 and actually stop and does not allow you to rotate anymore. Okay? We can do the same thing to this one here, but we haven't set up anything yet. So this one same as well, so I'm gonna rotate that up and down, which is rotate X that's doing it. So I'm gonna highlight everything, holding down the control key and select that rotate X with the left mouse button will exclude that particular attribute. And then right click on top of the highlighted attribute, and then lock and hide selected. Let's go to attribute editor of that controller being selected. We can do the exactly same thing by toggle on the rotate X and rotate Y limit value. So I can just go down to there and testing it. Right now, it's kind of stopping here, so maybe it's not a good idea. So I'm gonna just kind of Let's turn that up. So I can just kind of go down there. I'm gonna set it up around 61 or maybe 60 as the maximum it can rotate, for example. And then you can simply toggle on and then use the arrow key to transfer the value to the left. Now you see that? Actually, it's going to have to go to the other direction, I believe. I turn that off. Yes. And as for that next one, I'm gonna go all the way down to, I'm gonna decide where, how far I want to go. Because of this mesh starting to clipping, I wanna kind of stop it around this value, which is of negative 141,722. It does not have to be like, easy round number. It's completely fine to have decimal here. And then you can just turn that on. Oops. I wonder what just happened. When I go down there, negative 102. Oh, because I set that values already. I can just manually set that, negative 142. That allow me to rotate that this much. Okay, you can see that now it's kind of stopping and create that range. Okay. Now let's quickly pay our attention to this placeholder join. I don't want the animator to accidentally rotate it somehow. I mean, it's not really doing anything right now, so I guess it's because of the controller is already kind of holding it. It's not, doesn't matter what you do, it's not gonna actually doing anything. However, it's also a good idea to kind of completely lock this attribute so you don't have to deal with it anymore. So I'm gonna select that and then just gonna drag and highlight everything right here. And then right mouse button on top of it, and this time I'm just gonna use lock selected. Like that. Now you see all the attributes are still there, but now we have this gray box just next to it, indicating that the attribute has been locked. So it does not allow you to rotate, move it, scale it anywhere as anything at all. You can see when you select that joint, everything is grayed out, right? Indicating that it's not allowing you to do anything about it. Okay? Now move on to the next one, which is this one. That deals with the rotate jet only, right? So let's do the same thing. Select everything, control, select that rotate jet to deselect that particular attribute. Now with all the highlighted, I'm gonna right click, lock and hide selected. So you're left with a rotate jet here. Now I'm gonna go down to the next one. This is the wrist rotating, which deals with the rotate X. I'm gonna highlight everything once again. Highlight, deselect that rotate X, right mouse button, and lock and hide selected. And as for the wrist, it's supposed to also have some kind of it will be ideal to have some kind of range, right? But I'm gonna have you guys to work on that. So I'm gonna skip that part here. Or you can just kind of set that up right away. Negative 107, this one maybe 120. I guess I used. Okay, with that controller selected, open up the attribute, same thing, rotate X and Y, toggle that on, and then I'm gonna set that one as negative 100 and maybe 120. So stop, and you can also stop there. Okay, that's good. Now let's move on to the next one, which is the palm controller. They would like to kind of extend it out of the palm a little bit. And that's the only thing that I want to have that feature. I don't want it to rotate it anyway. I don't want it to scale it anyway, right? Only thing is move it this way. Not move it this way or no, not at all, but only one direction. So which deals with a translate jet. So I'm gonna highlight everything except for translate jet, right mouse button, lock and hide selected. So you're left, essentially left with rotate translate jet only. Okay? Now, once again, as I explained to you before, I don't want it to go too far to starting to dispatch, I mean, separate from the existing mesh here. What I want to do is I want to go there and this much. That's how far I want it to go, which is set around 2. I guess it should be set at 2 is fine. And the original is set to 0, but I don't want it to go in to the negative number to starting to clipping here, right? I don't want that. So in that case, the minimum it can go is 0. And the maximum it can go forward is 2. So we know the value and the range that we can set up. So now with the controller selected, open up the control editor, and this time we're not gonna deal with the rotate. So I'm gonna close that, but open up the translate. Right? Translate that here. I'm gonna set that both of them toggle on, and this one I'm gonna set it up minimum as 0 and maximum as 2. So after that, you can test it now. You can see after 2, it actually stopped moving. You can't go any further than that. And it does not also allow you to move to the right, where it can go to negative value. Okay, that's good. And then now we are left with the fingers. Let's check the fingers that deals with a rotate Y, as you can see. So I'm gonna set that on, highlight everything up, and rotate Y. Lock and hide selected. So this is the only attribute that allows you to rotate. I'm gonna move to the next one, right here, the finger. Same thing, I believe it should be same Y. Yeah. So I'm gonna highlight everything except for rotate Y. Right click, lock and hide selected. As for the fingers, I will leave that option to add a range. As for the part of assignment, I do expect you guys to kind of add that on your end, okay? To play around with the controller and add that range for how far you want the finger to open up and close it, okay? And I will go into File, Save Scene As. I'm gonna save my file. And I'm gonna version up to version 5 and save it. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this assignment here, both particular week here. And obviously, for the in terms of the delivery, it's better. You can always make that additional layers in terms of presentation. So I'm gonna make 3 additional layers. I'm gonna name this one as geometry or mesh, and this one will be joint, and the third one will be controller. Okay, now all you need to do is open up the rig, select the geometry group node, and then go down to the mesh, right click on it, and add selected object. So you can actually hide on and off right away. Now go into joint, select the joint group node, right click, add that selected object. So now you have the joint, you can on and off all together. Lastly, the controller, select the group node, make sure that you are also selected the layers for the controller, right click, and add selected object. So you can see, you can turn on and off everything this way. That's good. I'm gonna close that group node from the outliner, and I don't need that controller library group, so I'm gonna delete it completely. And also, in terms of a light, this is more for the visualization. I don't need it anymore, so I'm gonna delete it as well. So essentially, what's left now is this thing. This background group layers and then actual rig. And then as for the layer, there are 4 layers that you will be adding. And then I'm gonna save my file. Save it as. I'm gonna name it as, instead of version, I'm gonna name it as final. I know that actually is this particular assignment deals with a lot of repetition, right? Which is doing the same thing over and over, adding to one to another one, but essentially using the same methodology to actually set that up. But it will help you in terms of getting used to the tools that you're not quite familiar with. Moving to the next unit, which deals with we will start to looking into biped characters. It will be less likely a lot of repetition like you see, but more of the tools will be introduced. And as for the next unit, the focus will be setting up the IK setup and understanding what is IK, right? And then also talk about the little bit more structure of how you should be setting it up for humanoid characters, okay? The next assignment still, even though it's biped, we are not going to venture into binding, which is deals with the organic character, which will be actually starting in the following unit after the next assignment, okay? So if you're actually looking at the older assignment that you will be doing, the first one is this one we just completed. Second one will be the biped character, but will be a mechanical robot kind of stuff. So we will be using the same method to attach the mesh to the joint by using a constraint tools. But the joint placement and then the older IK setup and controllers will be relatively more complex. Okay? And we're gonna be able to start talking about IK that will allow you to, I'm sure many of you guys already started using the character rig provided during animation class. It's going to be the same thing. Will allow you to actually do a walk cycle and all the basic features that allow you to pretty much interact with the ground, right? That's something that we're going to work on. As for the third assignment, we are actually starting to looking into organic characters, okay? Then we'll be actually do a similar setup in terms of joint placement and controllers and everything and IK, but we will also start to talking about how to blend in between FK and IK, which will be the concept that's going to be fairly common and important, and also start to doing a binding process, which is also big piece, I guess. But things are much better. It's much more stable now. But used to be kind of hair pulling experience for many of people before. But it's things are a lot more stable. So after that, the fourth one, very final assignment, is pretty much redoing the third assignment, pretty much combining everything that you guys learned and implementing into the custom character that I provide to you, or your own character that you have worked on maybe in the modeling assignment or modeling class that you want to actually use that for rigging. They can completely do so. At that time, I'm going to be also introducing some auto rigging features that make things a little bit easier and quicker for you guys to actually set up the rig. There are so many different rigging script or program that are available for you that I will try to introduce some of the more well-known and very useful. But we'll be also using a multiple different plugins or different software to actually set up the base skeleton in different app and then bring it into Maya with a joint or bind it. Then we are going to be actually do some work to kind of automate that process, which is actually human IK rig that comes with Maya that we are going to be also using that feature in that time. Okay, so that's pretty much the general plan for the introductory lessons in rigging. And then after this semester, when you guys are taking on the advanced rigging course next semester, then you guys are going to be dealing with a lot more things that maybe introducing the scripting. Maybe you guys need to start doing some quad pad, which is like 4 lag, like animal kind of stuff. The quad pad is also quite common rig, but it's much better for you guys to, if you have a good understanding and know how to use a biped character rigging, then you will be fine rigging a quadped, because essentially it's kind of similar thing anyway. Okay, so that's the plan for the how the entire rigging thing is going to happen for the duration of the program. Okay, so if you are actually interested in becoming a rigging artist in the future, it's something that you want to pursue, you will have also get the necessary support from the faculty who will help you. We do have the amazing rigging faculty who can actually come in, can actually give you all the very useful lessons, get your skills level up there. Be able to do that. Okay. Do you guys have any questions so far about the assignment? All good? Okay, so so we actually finished up quite early, but I'm gonna actually do that and then give you guys some break to actually rest. I was gonna actually plan to start the new assignment. Okay, I hear that that's silence, so I assume that you guys don't want that. That's fine. We are in a fairly good pace right now, so I'm completely fine to actually stop here and give you guys some extra time to rest or maybe do some work. I'm gonna stick around a little longer. So if you have any question or you wanna talk to me about something, feel free to do so, okay? Thank you very much everyone for attending today's class. And then, yeah, once again, you're always welcome to reach out to me if you have any question, anything that you encounter, okay? And as I said earlier, the due date for this assignment will be 2 weeks from now, actually a little bit more than 2 weeks, which is, I believe it's February 9th. February 9th. Well, if you want 6, that's fine. That's I'm not gonna stop you. So February 9th, 11:59 p.m. Okay, it's right before the midnight. So I'll give you the full day to kind of work on it. Okay. I mean, nobody wanna work over during a weekend. Maybe some of you guys now, but try to start your assignment early, so you know exactly if you identify the problems, you can talk to me about it, right? So please do so, and that's that. Okay. Starting next week, we will actually start a new assignment in the new week, and then we actually once again, as I said earlier, we'll be start working on the bytecode characters. Okay. So you're welcome. I think you can also access the file. What we are going to be working on, if you actually go into Centennial Illuminate and then go into week 4, you should be able to see the exercise file already being uploaded there. Okay, sounds good. All right, thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day. All right, thank you.